Welcome to This Explainer. Okay, picture this. It's a scorching hot summer day. You stroll out to your backyard, fully ready for a refreshing dip, and bam! Instead of crystal clear water, you're staring at a milky, cloudy, totally uninviting swimming pool. Yeah, it's the absolute ultimate buzzkill. But as we're going to see today, that cloudiness, it's actually way more than just a massive eyesore. It is a complex mix of chemistry, mechanics, and honestly, a pretty serious safety hazard. To get your pool back to being that perfect backyard oasis, we're going to follow this quick roadmap. First, we'll look at the cloudy pool crisis itself. Then we'll break down the chemistry of clean water, followed by the balancing act. After that, we'll cover choosing the right filter, and we'll wrap it up with a technique called vacuuming to waste. All right, section 1, the cloudy pool crisis. Let's look at why it's a major safety hazard. Since water clarity is literally a life-saving safety metric, it brings us to the #1 question pool owners ask the second they see that milky water. Can you swim in a cloudy pool? I mean, is it really that big of a deal to just jump in for a quick cool-off? Well, let me cut right through the noise here. The answer is an absolute, definitive no. Pool is closed, period. No exceptions. Honestly, it doesn't matter if your pool turned cloudy because of some blown-in dirt, a wonky chemical imbalance, or just a heavy thunderstorm rolling through last night. If that water is cloudy, nobody should be in it. And look, this isn't just, my personal opinion. This is the strict industry standard. The CDC actually has a very specific visibility rule for this. It states, quote, "If you cannot clearly see the main drain at the deepest point, it is unsafe to swim," end quote. Why are they so strict about this? Well, because cloudy water instantly strips away the single most important thing that gives you reaction time in an emergency, and that is visibility. Think of cloudy water kind of like an iceberg, right? What you see on the surface is really just the beginning. It's what you don't see that's terrifying. Most drowning incidents are actually entirely silent. There's no dramatic splashing or yelling like in the movies. A submerged swimmer can literally disappear from sight in seconds, and that cloudiness robs you of any chance to spot them in time. But that's not all. Cloudy water completely ruins your depth perception, which leads to some nasty diving and slip injuries because people just can't judge where a slope begins or where the steps end. And then, there are the biological threats. Cloudiness usually means your sanitation has failed. That means contaminants like E. coli, this nasty chlorine-resistant parasite called cryptosporidium, and irritating chloramines are just multiplying in there. Moving right along to section 2, the chemistry of clean water. Let's step into the invisible realm. So we're shifting gears away from the visible dangers and stepping into the lab, so to speak, to look at the molecular science happening right beneath the surface. When we talk about keeping water clear, we're actually looking at two totally distinct processes here: sanitation and oxidation. Sanitizers, like your standard chlorine, are your frontline soldiers. They have to be in the water around the clock to attack and kill living organisms. We're talking algae, bacteria, all that gross stuff. But here's the catch. Sanitizers are actually pretty slow and clunky when it comes to removing non-living waste. That is exactly where oxidizers step in. Oxidizers chemically burn up and destroy all the everyday undesirables like sweat, body oils, and environmental gunk, breaking down their structure so the sanitizers can easily finish the job. Now, there's actually a massive, massive difference between the types of chlorine floating around in your water. On one hand, you have free available chlorine. This is the active, powerful superhero doing the heavy lifting to keep your pool safe. But as it attacks those contaminants, it actually binds with them to form something called combined chlorine, which are also known as chloramines. And chloramines, they are a huge problem. They are 40 to 60 times less effective at killing bacteria than free chlorine. Plus, and this is a fun fact, chloramines are exactly what cause that really strong, gross chlorine smell and give you those red, burning eyes. So ironically, if you walk into an indoor pool and it smells super heavily of chlorine, it actually means there isn't enough of the good, free chlorine in the water. Crazy, right? So how do you fix a huge buildup of those nasty chloramines? Well, you have to hit the water with a massive, overwhelming dose of chlorine, usually around 8 to 10 parts per million. This is what's known as shocking the pool. The goal here is to cross the breakpoint chlorination threshold. Once you push past that steep drop-off, you instantly oxidize and totally destroy all those chloramines and organic impurities. And boom, you are left with fresh, active, free available chlorine once again. Which brings us to section 3, the balancing act. Let's talk about stabilizing your chemistry. You see, chlorine doesn't just operate in a vacuum. It absolutely needs a stable environment to do its job properly. And the most crucial part of that environment? the pH. Let's completely de-jargon this for a second. Scientifically, pH is just the measurement of how acidic or basic your water is. But as a pool owner, you should just think of pH as the operating environment for your chlorine. If the pH gets too high, your chlorine becomes incredibly weak and sluggish. That leads straight to cloudy water and annoying scale formation on your tiles. On the flip side, if the pH drops too low, the water turns highly acidic and corrosive. It'll literally start eating away at your pool equipment and severely irritating swimmers' skin. Not good. Knowing your numbers is the absolute key here. So let's walk through this essential cheat sheet together. First up, your free chlorine. You want to keep that right between 1.0 and 3.0 parts per million, so it's actively sanitizing. Next, your pH should be sitting right in that sweet spot of 7.4 to 7.6. That gives you maximum chlorine efficiency and makes the water comfortable for anyone swimming. Then we have total alkalinity, which should be kept between 80 and 140 parts per million. Think of total alkalinity as your pH's personal bodyguard. It acts as a chemical buffer to stop your pH from just bouncing wildly up and down every time it rains. And lastly, calcium hardness. Keeping this between 200 and 400 parts per million makes sure your water has just enough calcium in it so that it doesn't aggressively try to dissolve the actual plaster right off your pool walls. All right, moving to section 4, choosing the right filter. These are the physical bouncers of your pool. If chemistry is the invisible killer in the water, then filters are your physical bouncers standing at the door. Their whole job is catching and removing all that dead algae, dirt, and debris. Let's do a quick filter showdown. Coming in at number 1, the absolute undeniable winner for water clarity is the DE or diatomaceous earth filter. It catches the absolute finest microscopic particles, meaning if your pool gets cloudy, a DE filter will clear it up incredibly fast. But the catch, every time you clean it by backwashing, you have to manually add fresh DE powder to recoat the grids inside. Coming in second is the cartridge filter. It definitely filters better than sand, but man, it is pretty labor-intensive. You have to take the entire housing apart just to physically spray down the pleated cartridges with a hose. And finally, in third place, we have sand filters. Honestly, they are incredibly easy to use and super low maintenance, but they definitely offer the lowest filtration quality out of the 3. They're just going to let more of those ultra-fine particles slip right back into your pool. Finally, section 5, vacuuming to waste. Here's how and why you'd bypass your filter. Okay, so what do you do when you open your pool and there's a thick layer of heavy debris or a massive green algae bloom covering the bottom? You absolutely, under no circumstances, want that thick sludge passing through your filter. It'll just clog it instantly. The secret weapon here is a highly satisfying process called vacuuming to waste. By doing this, you're bypassing the filter entirely and sending all that disgusting, dirty water straight out the backwash port and into the yard or a drain. Here's exactly how you do it. Step 1, throw a running garden hose into the pool. You're going to lose a ton of water really quickly, and if the water level drops below the skimmer opening, your pump is going to suck in air and lose prime. Step 2, attach your vacuum head and push the entire vacuum hose straight down into the water to drive all the trapped air out of it. Step 3, turn your pump off, click your multi-port valve over to the waste setting, and fire the pump back up. And lastly, step 4, vacuum the floor. But do it using really long, slow, deliberate strokes. If you rush it, you are just going to kick all that settled debris right back up into the water, and you'll be right back where you started with a cloudy mess. So I'll leave you with this final, kind of provocative thought. When you look out back, is your pool a safe, relaxing oasis, or is it basically a giant chemistry experiment gone entirely wrong? As we've uncovered in this explainer, crystal clear water isn't just about making your backyard look pretty. It's a vital, literally life-saving system built on a foundation of perfectly balanced chemistry, nonstop sanitization, and the right mechanical filtration. The next time you look out at your pool, you're going to know exactly what is or isn't happening right beneath the surface. So get out there, grab your test kit, check those water levels, and make sure your pool is actually safe and ready for a swim.